This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. So let's have a little look at Bitcoin. So yesterday we were talking about how there's a potential breakout, could have been as soon as yesterday. It could be today. You know, the signal still didn't get cancelled out. It's a little bit. I was talking on the Patreon channel last night, doing the live stream, and I said that it's like watching penalties, you know, in like the Euros. Obviously I'm English, so it reminds me of that kind of penalty shootout where the Bulls and the Bears basically effectively are just taking sort of one shot each, and you just don't know which way it's going to go, but whichever way it does decide to go, it's going to be a pretty big one, right? So effectively, you know, win the Euros or whatever. But that's what it feels like right now, and it does, and it effectively is, and I'll go through the reasons why. So first of all, we'll talk about the Bears case, right? So the Bears have the opportunity to short from exactly this level. This is the 200 exponential moving average. This should be below everything. If you're looking for a general uptrend, you know, a general strengthening of trend, this moving average needs to be below, right? And if you were bullish and you ever come down to retest it, it would be called a bullish retest generally, or your last line in the sand, the best opportunity to take a long from. So obviously flip that on its head. That's the same for the Bears. You know, the Bears will be looking at this going, look, I'm a perma bear. I only short. This would be the best opportunity for me to do it. We're right up at resistance. We've been into this box several times recently, in fact, you know, over the last month or two. And this is the best place to do it. Towards the top of the Bollinger Band, 200 exponential, wham bam, thank you man, all the way down to zero, which is what perma bears want. They want to ride it to zero. So that is what they'll be thinking of. They'll also be looking at the weekly, and they'll be going, right, this is perfect. You know, you couldn't ask for any more than this. 20 weekly, this is the ultimate. If you ever come down to a 20 weekly, if you're bullish, you come down for a retest of it, you look for a bounce on it, and you might get one of those. And this happens all the time. When you're above it, you're bullish. When you're below it, you're bearish. Look, this is the Bears scenario. You know, nice big run up, retest, back down, back down, back down. Reclaim it all the way up, you know, and that's just the nature of it. So this is effectively a Bears wet dream right now. We've got a daily 200, we've got a Bears 20 on the weekly. You've got a lot of things going through these Bears right now, and I can understand why they might be thinking of piling on the shorts. But flip that over to the bullish side, right? The bullish case is like what we said yesterday. On the daily, we had a conversion baseline cross, 3 portions of the Ichimoku cloud that you look for a continuation of a trend signal to the up. So it doesn't matter if this is green or not, that doesn't really matter for this signal. And this is always the better signal to play because it means continuation. It doesn't mean just a pump, it means, you know, a trend begins and it tells you when to get in or when to get out. So we've got our cross here, the price is above the cloud, that's all you really need. And this Chiku span here, this little lagging span, the Chiku span over here, that needs to be above price action. And I was saying yesterday, if we close yesterday in this candle body, which is, you know, 43,000, if we closed in there, then it would not completely disqualify, but it would add, you know, it would not void it completely, but for me, I wouldn't trust it at that stage. You can also, you know, void it when the blue here, the conversion line crosses the baseline again. For a negative cross, that would be another way to say, all right, we'll exit the position, or it's not worked out. So this is just stage one. You don't have to get out of here. But for me, I would like to see it, this Chiku span close above this price action, which means that over the weekend, over these next 2 days, we have to close above 44,500 2 days in a row for this to continue. You know, it could still easily continue after that. Like I say, the blue crossing the red to a negative would be, again, a more dramatic way to say that this isn't going to work out. So we could probably, you know, get by with this, maybe getting in the price action, but it's not perfect. But bullish case would be a trend that effectively began 3 days ago as a result of this signal generating. And this signal is one of my favorite ones. You know, we've made some epic trades, especially during the last alt season when we were getting these left, right and center. We were yielding yielding 10x's, 35x's. We've got 10x on FET, 35x on Holochain, and God knows how many others that yielded pretty decent returns, because it said that the trend begins, and so you get in at the towards the bottom of the trend, right? So technically that is a signal that's still in play, and we're at a resistance, right? So that's not a bullish thing, but what it would suggest is that because we've got the 20 weekly above us, we've got the 200 exponential and the daily above us, that if this were to break, this is an enormous amount of volume that will pour in. The liquidity around this zone is like enormous, and so shorts getting wrecked from all those bears piling it on, plus the fact that this is a major line in the sand, that if we break above it, we'll literally moon, and the trend would likely continue at that stage. I don't know how much these signals don't tell you how much it will go, but it would certainly go. Like an uptrend would be beginning and will continue, and we'll be told to get out of it in an appropriate time given the itchy cloud. On the daily is one of the best places to get this signal, because it's a long-term time frame, but it's not hugely lagging. The daily is much better than getting it on the weekly. 4 hourly is good, but the daily is the better one, so we've got it. Also, if we just have a look at our momentum, generally speaking, we're not dwindling at all. The MACD is crossed above the 0 point. MACD is getting higher and higher histograms, more or less. The moving averages are diverging, showing that signs of continuous strength building. Same with the RSIs, no bullish, bearish divergence here. The only thing of any concern is the money flow index being reasonably high, about 83, higher than it should be. I have to say, like given where we are and where we're looking to go. Because if we zoom out, we can see that generally speaking, the money flow index doesn't really like to be this high before coming back down again. So this is just showing that there is enormous liquidity for the bears as well. So this is unfortunately the drawback of these momentum reads down here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will fall through. It's just unfortunately a bit of a pain in the ass that we do have a high read. It's just showing that the order books are full of people looking to get wrecked effectively. So if you wanted to sell your Bitcoin, you'd get a good value for it around here. So that's the drawback. But MACD and RSI is pretty good. Trend is pretty good. Just remember, we are at resistance, but again, as you can see, you balance it up, and this is all that trading is about. It's about balancing the odds. You balance it all together on the daily and on the weekly, you come up with more or less a 50-50, really. And whichever way it goes, it implies a large move. If we go to the 3-day, which is something we don't normally look at, we're above all major moving averages here, getting support as of this new candle here on the top of the 50 exponential moving average, which again, it used to be significant resistance, hopefully has now become support, and again, no dwindling here on any of these moving averages, and the money flow index is in a reasonably safe place. So I'm in favor of this pulling through and doing a beast move to the up. My bias is to the up, I have to say. The 4 hourly looks good, consistent move up. We had a golden cross, dumps down into it, standard practice. Since then, continued up. But the way that this looks, though, it does look like it wants to cool off a little bit. That's okay for it to come down. It's all about the daily closures for that itchy cloud. And again, it's only the Chiku span, which again, I do hold a lot of weight onto it, but it's not the be all and end all. We could have a Chiku span close within the daily candle bodies and still be fine. We've seen that plenty of times. It's just for the perfect scenario, you don't want to see this at all. Look, over next week, we can sustain some lower prices and still get away with this itchy cloud playing out its continued trend, and that would be good. So really, what I'm hoping for, in a perfect world, I'm just asking nicely here to Bitcoin's chart, if you could please just hold this current value or just a little higher throughout the weekend, I'll be very grateful. If you want to come down next week, that's okay by me. In fact, I would welcome it, so we could get some opportunities to take some long positions at some appropriate areas, basically these moving averages. But for this weekend, if you could just stay static and maybe a little higher, just hold around 45,000, I'd be very grateful. And then that would be like effectively not in the bag uptrend, but a lot more leeway coming into next week for further upside. As this is a weekend, though, weekends are stupid, and I'm never a fan of playing them, nor am I even possible. I'm not even able to do it with kids around at the weekends. It's just impossible to make any trades. But that's the deal. So it is as simple as that. So bulls and the bears, there you go. You've both got your fill. Enjoy what I've said. There's a case for both of you. My bias is still to the up. I'd say that at this stage right now, I'd probably say it's 60% in favour of bears. Bulls. My God, is that a Freudian slip? 60% in favour of bulls, 40% in favour of bears. It's not great odds, I have to say, but yeah, I do favour the upside. But coming into next week, that's where we will really want to start to see some of this volatility move to the up. As for altcoins, just a quick overview of altcoins. We're still looking at this total market cap excluding Bitcoin as a breakout. Now we've seen with Bitcoin and it's Bitcoin's own chart, we've broken out a while back and we went to what I believe to be a period of accumulation. So we can see that altcoins very much look like the Bitcoin chart, apart from it's about 2 months or 6 weeks behind, right? So we broke out here, came to the top, consolidated, basically zigzagged around in a choppy area, and that's basically what we're looking at here. Altcoins are likely to trend with Bitcoin, but in my opinion, mostly to a lesser extent. But that is still a breakout of a consolidation. It's a breakout of a descending triangle. It could easily just go sideways for a little bit and be choppy and volatile, and that's fine. Overall, I've been talking on the live stream and I've alluded to it several times on videos that if you're okay to hold on to something for longer and be prepared to see Bitcoin move without your altcoin, that's fine. Some of these prices, the majority of them, I'd say, again, it's a sweeping statement. I'm not telling everyone to buy CNS. Don't buy CNS. But the majority of altcoins of any significance, the ones that we look at on this channel anyway, mostly have come to an appropriate level where I think on a risk to reward basis, it's okay to try it. The only issue that you'll have is that Bitcoin is likely to take the lead, in my opinion, and move first of all, and your altcoin might not move at all. In fact, you might even lose money during that period. Anything is possible, but Bitcoin is certainly leading this market, leading the charge, and so it's only right to assume that it will actually power through and make the move first, and then everything else will follow. And then if the market remains healthy, which it should do by reclaiming all those areas on Bitcoin's chart, then the total market cap for altcoins will also start to move up pretty aggressively, and then you will see the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 X's for some of these coins. But in the short term, as we were looking at a lot of these coins last night on the live stream, they weren't very convincing. They did look very much like they were just being dragged up with the market. They didn't look very convincing, like they were doing their own things for the most part. There was a few anomalies in there. I think NEO was one of the better ones, but I don't suggest you go off and buy all of that. This is the beauty of doing the live streams. You see, we get to look at all these coins for a good couple of hours, and then in summary we kind of put it together, working out are these altcoins doing anything? Which is the best one? Which is obviously the worst one. There were some terrible ones on there as well. And the vibe we got, generally speaking, was that outside of maybe about a handful that we looked at, they were more or less just being dragged up by the market. Some were a bit more convincing than others. Surprisingly, things like XRP, even Tron. It's weird how it's working out, but they have the stronger looking charts. Doesn't mean that they're going to make you the millionaire. They're not the millionaire starter kits, obviously, but they still have the stronger charts. So highly tradable, looking like they will move with Bitcoin in a bit more of a convincing way. A lot of these other ones didn't look like they were ready to do anything of their own. They were still early days and could easily get cancelled out. If Bitcoin goes down, for instance, they'll get completely wrecked. Anyway, rather than just going through the summary of the live stream, why don't you join? Why don't you join the Patreon? It's only £7.50 a month. You get 2 live streams a week, and it gives us a really good way to catch up with all these different types of altcoins, even stocks as well. And by the end of it, we get a bigger picture of what the market's doing as a whole. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. I hope you have a nice weekend, guys. Nice and sunny where I am. So enjoy your day and take it easy.